starting now, if you want to recap what you
Okay,
just said.
so
One,
just to figure out how we get top slice. We launch 10. Every branch here, the goal is how fast can I get to a 10 launch and how long can I keep it? For new districts, it's 15. For vets, it's 20 plus. Okay? We call those strings of recruiting variable period. Based on Andrew's message, we should average 150. That's the Florida United way. 150. That gets us 1,500 names in the pool, in the pot, in the queue. So we have to decide every single week, situation is the boss, how many of those names stay with us for humans to call, which is going to get the higher ratio, and how many get sent to conveyor. One more time. By what day and what time for branches only? What day and what time?
Saturday.
Saturday, it's by noon. Okay? It's already in the schedule, so it'll get sent. For the bigger offices, and Neil, I'm going to look at you because you had to do it, and David, you had to do this. If you have a big launch where this is like 3,000 names, you have to make sure you scrub the list Friday night. Otherwise, you're scrubbing it all day morning, and you might get it out by noon, but you didn't do any PDI, you got nothing done, all you did was scrub the list for 3 hours in the morning.
Yeah, just why you take first weekend.
Yeah. Okay, who can define scrub list real quick for those, any of you who is not on a different planet, and doesn't know what that means?
You're just removing people that have been messaged in that campaign by Conveyor.
Yeah, but you have to manually do it.
Yeah, so you go into the system and you'll like manually check, and it shows you the last date that they were messaged. And if they were messaged within the most recent campaign, you send them to a list that they don't get a message. And it's just so you don't irritate people and they like kind of complain.
Yeah.
When
so-
in doubt though, keep them on the list.
So long story short, irritated, yes. Long story short, Friday after we launched, there's a lot of exciting things going on with PDI. My frame of reference for the staff is the person in charge of scrubbing the list does not leave until it's physically done on Friday night. That way Saturday, we're just sending messages in the morning, we're doing PDI, we're setting our PRs. We're not worried about scrubbing and cleaning up these lists, and we send the conveyor right at 11. We're gonna send it at 11 and 11:30. Okay? So if I launch 10, I've got 15,000 names. Give me a thumbs up if you understand the math so far.
Math.
Say, I can do math.
I can do math.
I can math. Okay.
I can do quantum mechanics.
So now, watch.
all the challenge.
Here are the ratios. And I know you've heard different ones, like 8 to 1 and 12 to 1. But we've really just taken the average. If it's a manager type, we're going to use a 10 to 1 ratio set to show. If it's an RA, we'll use 15 to 1. Okay? If it's bad, it's 20 plus. So with that being said, the bare minimum for the United system is every manager for themselves, fire number, aka fire number, is going to set 20 a week. That means in order for them to get 20, 10 to 1, you need 200 of those 50. Of these 1,500, 200 need to be kept for that manager. If I have assistant managers, okay, technically, and well, let me do it this way. I would put assistant managers here. Okay? Some of you want to, we can talk on the cap if you feel like the assistant should be here. I like having just in case. Okay? Or you could do even between 12 to 1 if you want. Okay, you have a thought on that?
May I interject on a thought?
Sure.
Some of your manager sets can come from rep driven, so I don't think you need to keep that many.
Because
As
that's
the
10,
main
that's
manager.
10 hours of PR call.
Correct.
Wait, say it again? Say it again?
A lot of, like, at least 5 of your manager set is gonna come from
Oh, yeah.
rep driven, so that should be no, I mean,
Also like
Yeah, I
top
plan on
10
keeping
lists
about
and
100.
stuff.
Sorry, it's 100 in my notes.
keep it 100.
Keep it 100.
Keep it 100.
Whoa.
Let me do this again. I'm making you.
Wait, what? Super chill.
DMVM 100. AM 150. RA 200 to 300. Not get the final on that. Okay?
I like
I'll say it
that.
again. You guys, 100. Your assistants, 150. This is from Kevin. 2 to 300 for your RAs. Now, the reason it's a range depends on how good or bad your RAs are. You have to look at that week to week. Luke was really good at that, saying, okay, our receptors are not that good right now, so we'll get them more names. If they're really good, they're really efficient, we'll keep less names. So I'm just gonna use an example of the pilot. So, or I'll use this, just getting started with Luke. It's Luke, and then his Don Pearson. Okay? So let's say he launches 10, has 15,000 names. He needs how many to set his? 100.
Oh,
How many does she need? She's not a DMVM.
150.
I'll give her
It's 150. There's 250. That means minus 250. That's what I'm going to keep. That's top slice.
She's setting 40 though.
That's going to go to there. The next day. Okay? And every week you have to do this because what's going to fluctuate? How many RAs you have. So then you also, I'm sorry. and you have to do RAs. Let's say you have 3 RAs. And I'm keeping 200 each. That's 600. So 250 for the staff, 600. Right, what's that now? A lot.
Yeah.
50?
How many PRs you got?
Yeah, so, listen up, I'll keep about 850 names for the RAs, Don and myself, and I'll send the rest to conveyor the next year. You have to do this every single week. Okay, so I wanna bring Luca, I'm sorry,
Sure.
your hand is distracting, I'm sorry, my bad.
No, you're
I wanna-
good, I'll stop.
Write your question down, I got you.
Yes.
I wanna bring your name to Mike Bronx. Mike
Still.
Bronx is gonna come up, so how to make sure you get this 20 set? Okay, imagine having a $50,000 new business week, and your rep said, oh, we have to roll out? And on Tuesday, and there was a big contest that ended on Monday, and on Tuesday said, oh, we have to roll out? What are some thoughts that come, besides I wanna kill you, what are some thoughts that come to mind, like, don't you wanna get paid? Do you not understand how orders work, and, okay? For me, I want you to have that same reaction if you don't get 20 for the week. Then how do you not get 20 for the week? You fight for 20 for the week. If you don't have anything going on, you go for 30 for the week. So Mike's gonna talk about this. We'll also mention the schedule and how this works. Any questions on the ratio? Okay, this might be some cat questions. So, Mike for years has consistently been back-to-back one of our best people at this. Mike, in fact, was one of our keynote speakers on this at SLC 2 years ago. Hurricane, creating your PR hurricane. He's gonna translate the same message to you here. So, to bring us home before we go share and break some bread tonight at the sports bar, I give to you our new Tampa district manager, all the way from the Bay, Micah Rollins.
How many days? How many days you got?
Yay. And I think we're gonna go Bay Area Game Changers versus Tampa.
He's got a much better ring to it.
And we already have our Instagram as Bay Area Game Changers, which is like almost 9,000 followers. So.
Pretty much Tampa anyways.
The Bay Area.
The Bay Area. So I'm really I appreciate the time to be able to speak with you guys today. The first thing I want you to really think about is, what is your attitude towards recruiting? What is your attitude towards what we're doing? What is your attitude towards the business? And I revisited a story from Akio Morita and Morita. And the story was one I shared with the district team maybe about a year ago, and it was really interesting. I heard about it on a podcast. And anybody know who that is?
Podcast?
So the gentleman who invented Sony, that's who he is. And what's interesting enough is when he was age 54, he had a net worth of $1.3 billion. Okay, he was already brought up from a very, very wealthy family. They were in the sake business. He didn't necessarily need to work, and he said, I'm going to go out and do something really incredible, and I'm going to take a risk, and I want to start this electronic business with one of his buddies. And his dad was completely against it, and he decided to do it anyway. And he started this business, and it completely was failing. It was completely failing. The products weren't selling. And what was interesting enough is he had an offer when the Sony Walkman, he came out with the Sony Walkman. Some of you guys might remember this, maybe you don't. And he came out with this Walkman, and the watch company, I actually own the watch Bulova, right? This big name watch company came over and tried to buy his inventory to bail him out and said, we'll come in, we'll buy it. It was more money than he knew what to do with. He said, we'll buy it, but we're not going to call him a Sony Walkman, we're going to call him a Bulova Walkman. Imagine this. And he says, no, I can't compromise the name brand because Sony's going to be a worldwide name one day. I'm going to fight the fight. I'm going to try to find a way to do it on my own. It's either you keep it as Sony or you don't get Walkman. And they didn't do the deal. And this is a guy who's about to be bankrupt. Kept the name. The reason why I share this with you is because he knew he was going to make it big before he was big. My question to all of you is, what is your attitude when you're going into recruiting for your business this summer? If you have someone come in and say, oh, it's the knife job, or, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's a scam. I know Amanda dealt with that a bit up in Richmond this past summer, where it was kind of the stigma. what is your reaction to, you could call them the haters, you could call them the skeptics, you could call whatever it is. It might not be dad in you know, the Sony example, but who is it, and what do you here to accomplish with your business? The conviction that you must have comes from, it comes from you. So here's one of the things that I share with my team, okay, for example. And this is my conviction, and my crew, I just had this conversation with my team this past week, and I said, don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. You know, you don't know what someone else's circumstances are. Like, you don't know what's going to happen in someone else's life. You don't know what that name on that sheet of paper is going to turn into. So don't be selfish. Like, help some other people out. You never know. That name on that sheet of paper might be Mason Linker. Mason Linker was on a name on a sheet of paper that Zach Schachter recommended that we called him, but he wasn't into the job at the first time we reached out to him. Second time he saw a Snapchat post, he's like, it's not for me. The third time he saw something on Facebook, I don't know, maybe later. It took Mason probably 4, 5, 6 times to see the job, and then finally was like, all right, I'll come check it out. Mason ended up selling 90 grand, has $25,000 that he was able to set aside and save. Is now running the St. Petersburg office because Zach wasn't selfish. So don't be selfish. Give your friends an opportunity to at least know we exist. Let them make the decision. Don't you make the decision for them. What do you think about your business? But that comes from conviction. Your Sony is your brand, your personal brand. How does this tie into this personal set number? Because my job is to hit that personal set number. That's the only thing that matters. That's my job. If you went ahead and asked Ray Kroc what is his job, for those of you guys that don't know Ray Kroc, he's the guy who pretty much took McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers, right? And you could watch the movie, it's pretty good. No, it's pretty good. Ray Kroc, when he died, his net worth right now would be worth $1.4 billion. And this is a guy who was like kind of living check to check when he was like, you know, trying to come up with some different ideas of how to hack the industry. And a couple quotes to give you an idea of who Ray Kroc was. He said, if I had a brick for every time I've repeated the phrase Q, S, C, and V, quality, service, cleanliness, and value, I think I'd probably be able to build the bridge from the Atlantic Ocean all the way over to the other side. Ray Kroc said, it's no achievement to walk a tightrope laid flat on the floor. And Ray Kroc also said, we're not in the hamburger business, we are in the real estate business. Ray Kroc wasn't selling hamburgers. Ray Kroc was buying real estate to put the McDonald's on the real estate in prime locations so that way no matter what, someone saw those golden arches, they knew there were some burgers over there. So anytime someone was hungry, he made them certain colors and created the scent. You guys know when you go past the McDonald's, like you can smell the scent of McDonald's? That was all intentional. All of that was intentional. So that way, if someone was hungry or wasn't hungry, it created hunger once they saw those golden arches. He was there when someone else showed up. He created his opportunity. So you think about, what do we do? What do you think your job is? What do you think? You think you're in the knife selling business? No, you used to be in the knife selling business. That's what got you to this room. You're in this room because you did a good job at the knife selling business. What are you in now? You are in the vector marketing business. You are in the student recruiting business. You are in the providing opportunities business. And they don't know we exist unless you help them know we exist. So what is your job? Your job is to be there. That's your job. Your job is to be there when, here's the stump speech for you, and this is in the packet. We want to be there. The moment someone realizes that they don't like what they do, you want to be there. The moment they have an argument with their boss at their other job, you want to be there. The moment that they realize that they want to go on that trip and they don't have enough money in their bank and they need to make a little extra cash, you want to be there. The moment they feel like they need some sort of mentor, some sort of self-confidence, some sort of increase in communication, you want to be there. That's why we set up, that's why we make the calls. That's why we put up the triple threat. We want to be there at the opportune moment. The opportune moment when Will Lovelace gets in a car accident and his grandfather says, you need to pay me back $1,000. He's like, I can't, I got 2-day practices this summer. He says, well, you should have thought about that before you crashed the car. And that day, he gets a message from Nihil saying, hey, I don't know what you're up to for the summer, but my job's hiring. Came in for the one-on-one interview and was like, I need to make $1,000. How fast can I do that here? We mapped it out. He hit it in his first weekend. Ended up selling 40 grand for the summer. Was my AM this past summer. He had a pretty good run for the job. Mason's here because of Will, because Will recommended Zach. How did Will find out? Because of Nihil. How did Nihil find out? Because Connor Flaherty put a triple threat up, and the same moment that Nihil saw that post on Connor's Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook was the moment that Nihil said, Mom, I'd like to buy a motorcycle. And Mom said, there's no way I'm buying you a motorcycle. He said, fine, I'll go buy it myself. She says, no one's gonna hire you. Who's gonna hire you? You have no experience, you're young, you're still in high school. And that was the moment he saw the post saying, hey, starting pay $14.50, you can make money here, come check us out. And he came and checked us out, and Nihil started selling Cutco, made up enough money, made about $3,500 so he could buy his motorcycle. We just happened to be there at the moment. Now granted, we were sending a lot of messages. We're putting up a lot of posts. We just happened to be at the right moment, at the right time for the right kid. That's what we do. So it's important to think about what you do, why we do it. All these numbers and all this is fancy, but the fact is, why am I sitting at my computer for a few hours a day running Facebook program right now? It's because that's what I can control. And you bet your butt, what else am I going to be able to control in a couple weeks from now, a couple months from now, is hitting the phones and making those phone calls. That's what I can control. I can't control their reaction. I can't control their response. I can't control some of the statistics. I can influence them, but I can't control them. But I can control how many times I click that damn button and add a friend. I can control how many times I dial that number, pick up the phone, and call the next person. I can control those things. And that's what Manager Set PR is focusing on what you can control and driving those numbers. So really, if you forget everything else I'm about to talk about and you just take that part of my message home with you, that's the only thing that matters. I'm curious, before I transition to actual some of the skill sets and the tools, any of that show up for you that you're like, damn, I kind of need to hear that. I'm curious, maybe one or two of you.
A lot of business is timing.
Timing,
Just be there.
just be in front.
I guess like happened to me, I was contacted 4 times, but I was like, I don't really need it. But then when I needed it, I just saw it again and it was like, okay, I'm coming in. So like, resonated a lot with me.
I see. One more?
Yeah, I mean, just like consistency is compounding, and just like, you know, you're putting it out constantly and consistently over time, and it goes Will to Nihil to Zach to Mason. You can kind of just see the progression as far as skill set, even through the line.
Yeah,
and
to
how they-
Josh.
To Josh, yeah.
Josh is from Mason's lineage.
Yeah, and then I mean, yeah, and it
It's
continues.
crazy.
That's my grandson.
It's pretty awesome.
On his downline.
So, so bottom line is, how do you make this happen? You know, the handouts in the folder. I'm not going to bore you to death and going through what you need to do and set it up, because the fact is you're not going to remember in a few weeks from now. And the reason why you're not going to remember what I say right now is because you're going to hear it another 5, 6, 7, 10 times on WhatsApp and an email and another message at kickoff. You're going to hear this stuff again. So bottom line, if you don't remember right now all this stuff, you're going to hear it another 4 or 5 times. So you just want to make sure you're setting up. Here's your metrics. Here's your 7s. Okay, I would remember 7s. Saturday, set 7. Come hell or high water. Find a way to put 7 PRs on the board on Saturday. Sunday, set 7. Find a way to get 7 on the board on Sunday. Monday, set 7. Find a way to get it on the board, and then Tuesday, find a way to get 7 on the board that gets you 28 for the week, and then scoop up the other couple on the Wednesday that gets you 37.
Can you write it on the board?
Sure. That's
It's on the board.
pretty, so where is it? So we got,
7 times 4.
yeah, I mean, we got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and I'll show you how, but the how doesn't matter. Just get the result, get the outcome. Here it is, set 7 per day, which yields 28 PRs. Wow, that's crazy, right? So here's how. I'll give you the how. Like I said, the how doesn't necessarily matter. Just get the outcome. That's all you have to focus on. Do not stop what you're doing until you get to 7. The faster you get to 7, the faster you're done. That's it. We'll focus on efficiencies later. If your show sucks, we'll reevaluate. We'll recover the next week. But just get the people set up. I'll give you some tools. I'll give you some tips. But just get the outcome. So My focus, what I would suggest to every one of you, 10:30 to 12:30 on Saturday. During those 2 hours, you check in with your team in the morning, 10:30 to 12:30, you have 2 hours, set 7 people. Find a way to get 7 set up. How to do it? There's a list in your folder, I'll cover that list with you, and how it will reveal itself. Just find a way to get to 7, put 7 on the board. Sunday, you got
There's a handout in the folder of this talk, so you can follow along.
7 on Sunday, from 2 to 5, you got about 3 hours, get 7 up. 7 up on the board, put 7 up on from 2 to 5 on Sunday. Monday rep driven, that's easy. If you guys aren't getting 7 during rep driven, using what Andrew just talked about, then that's okay. You just want to figure out why. You know, how did you not get 7? You have to think about it in these terms. Ready? Think about it in these terms. If I'm running a solo show and I'm overwhelmed with a lot of people, all right, I'm gonna do everything Andrew just said. If it's just me, my RA called out sick, whatever the case may be, my team has witnessed me do this. Now this is, you know, I'm not here to brag about how awesome I am. I am telling you it's pretty freaking awesome, impressive. I had 2 people on the phone at the exact same time saying the exact same damn thing to them, booking 2 people up at once, just like this. I told them, I said, just watch me. Just give me the phone. Just give me the phone. I'll do it. And I'm not telling you that I don't even know how efficient it was, but I'm telling you, I'm expressing to them, I want the rock. Give me the ball. Like, I'm getting my PR set up. There's that level of ownership, that level of commitment. Like, I'm doing this. Like, I'm going to make sure this gets done. So just food for thought. Are you owning this program? Are you excited about hitting your number? Is it meaningful? So get 7. As far as how it goes, like, you can sit down with Steven, and my crew has witnessed me do this too. I sit down with Steven and like, Steve, listen, I'm at 5, I gotta hit my goal. This just happened like 2 weeks ago. It's like, hey, I gotta hit my goal. Amanda's cranked, she's working so hard. She's like cold calling the list. Josh is working hard, cold calling this list. Steven's working hard, cold calling this list. Sierra's working hard, cold calling this list. I just roll in, I sit down, I book up 5, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, I knew I was gonna book up my 5 tonight. So I reached out to Alex and Kiki before I got here and asked them to send me some 3-way text messages so I could get my 5 real easy. I'm just working smart. I don't care how you get the number. You could work hard, or you could work smart, or you could do both. Get the number. That's all that matters. Now, there are certain efficiencies I encourage you to follow, but I just want you to make sure that you're getting the outcomes more so than anything. Monday rep driven, and then you have the triple threat follow-ups that evening to get your 7. Tuesdays, you got the 3-way text messages that are getting sent, plus you have the triple threat follow-ups from your Monday rep driven as well. So, I appreciate that. Cool.
Right man's the job with the worst handwriting.
So just to kind of summarize what we just talked about, okay? Make sure that we have this covered. Saturday, 10:30 to 12:30. Set up how many? 7. Let's brainstorm. What are some ideas? I think the answers are in this room. I know the answers are on the handout, but I think the answers are in this room as well. If it's Saturday, how do I get? Where do I get my 7 from?
Facebook. Top 10 list.
So I would say top 10 list would be a very good place to start, right? If you're the branch manager, district manager, you probably want to cherry pick the best ones, especially if you do it right. What do I mean by do it right? They just send a text message heads up to their top 10 list in training. So it's like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. One of my manager might reach out to you at some point this weekend. So they're already expecting my call because I preface it at the end of my PR talk. So yeah, I'm definitely going to start with cherry picking the top 10 lists for sure. What else? Facebook responses. Maybe there's some messages on the Google form. What else?
Google Doc.
So check the Google Doc, right? Maybe there's something on there.
PR, like,
Interview people.
just.
Maybe you ran a Friday interview. Maybe you ran a Thursday or Friday interview. You got some interview PR names if you need to scoop up some names that way. Sure. And what else? You also just have this giant long list that the reps just submitted to, right?
Yeah.
If you just need to start cold calling and jamming on Saturday versus Sunday. You have a couple different avenues. There, right? So that's where you can pull from on Saturday. Sunday, I would say, what are you going to do Sunday from 2 to 5? How do you get your 7 on Sunday?
Top 10 list traditionalist.
Top 10 lists, traditional PR calling. Probably some of the same of what we just talked about for Saturday. What was it? I would say rep driven from PSP, current reps, right? AM three-way text messages, or your RAs, RA three-way text messages. And if someone said that idea, I think it's a great one. So that's what you could do on Sunday. Any other ideas for Sunday on how you can get that 7? I think it's a pretty good list. Monday, we already tried to talk about it.
Your 50 Facebook messages, I know somebody said that already.
Yeah, no one said that one. I think it's a great one. You guys just sent the messages on Saturday and Sunday to send 50. So more than likely, there's probably a couple of responses, whether it's on the Google form or in the inbox. See, one of the things that I know Amanda did a great job with is she would just get their phone number from them right there on Facebook. So instead of sending them to the Google Doc, it's like, hey, what's your number? I'll call you real quick and give you some info. Right? So you don't have to wait for that extra step. Now, there's different philosophies there. I like the extra step just because they're earning the phone call, because it shows that they're actually like a little bit more invested in the interviewing process. That's for me, just for time's sake, so that way I'm spending my time talking to someone who I think is more interested than someone who's not. But at the same time, if you just need to hit your number, just get the phone number and call them. Just depending on how overwhelmed you are.
I want to reference this, so
So that's just Saturday, Sunday.
you can, and he's gonna finish this, you can pull this from the schedule, the picture that you have from the schedule. Saturday at 10 o'clock, I'm gonna run a divisional Zoom for everyone to kick off our peer call. We give updates on training, it'll be 15 minutes long, and then boom, from 10 o'clock until 3, I put 3/4, we're just copying the best practice from Carolina Division. And he said some of his people who were behind went all the way till 5, 6, or 7 because they didn't have anything going on. They were getting like 10, 7 on Saturday. But you go from 10 to 3 or 4 o'clock, you get 7, 7. He said my minimum in Carolina is 7. It's not 5 like Sunday because there's nothing going on. There are no functions to run. Sunday 2 to 5. This is after you do the pair kickoff. You set minimum 5, but around up to 7 on average. And then Monday you have 2 opportunities. You have rep driven to get your 5. And then the follow-up to triple threat that night. On the low end, you get 2 if it's a busy day, all the way up to 5. So the bare minimum is 7 again, and you can get all the way up to 10, I would say. You can go, this can be 10, right? Wow. And this is all best case, low minimum scenario.
And a side note, while I say this, you can look on my, on the manager PR set number, my number 1 week, I set up 48 in 1 week personal. And I set up 18, I think it was on a Sunday, and another like 16 on a Monday. Something along those lines. You can see on the document, it was pretty good. I have several weeks where I booked up between 40 and 50 PRs.
So let me say this. You gotta get to your 20, but a lot of you are gonna get close to 30 in the early weeks when you don't have anything going on. And I think, if I think about key metrics, I mean Saturday, I gotta get 7, and I gotta get 5 to 7 on Sunday. Right there, just that start puts you at 13. And what's the minimum? 20, right? So that means I've got a need. It means on Monday, I just have to hit my minimum, and then I'm at 20. It means everything Tuesday is great. And any 3-way texting I do on Tuesday is great. This is also a 3-way texting.
Tuesday for the boat. Tuesday for the boat.
Okay.
Cool. So Monday and Tuesday, so you have the places to get those extra lists from. Now, if you're behind, and if something crazy happened, you had a bad launch, whatever the case may be, I'll tell you right now, like, go out with a clipboard. I will bet your dollar that there's a sharp kid at Chick-fil-A that probably needs a job. I pulled up to Chick-fil-A, to buy some gift cards, and I was like, what the hell? Because I don't eat meat, so I never actually have been to Chick-fil-A before, and I just went to buy gift cards, and I was like, every one of these kids are so sharp. Every one of those kids that work there, they're so well-mannered, they're super sharp. I was like,
My pleasure.
how have I not known about this, like, nest of sharp kids?
You don't need
We don't eat.
Like, what? Right? Because I don't eat meat, that's why. So, but what I'm saying is if I had to, I would drive my happy behind to every Chick-fil-A that's in my area with a little clipboard. I would order, a side of fries or whatever, and be like, hey, by the way, do you or any of your friends know anyone who might be looking for part-time work around what you guys are already doing? We're starting at $16. I'm not sure how much you and your friends are making right now. Would you maybe be interested in some info? Cool. Here, sign this. Let me get your number real quick. I'll hit you up after work or whatever. I'm not saying do this, but I'm saying like if I had to hit my 7 and I was behind, I would do that. I would do that. So just something to think about.
You guys know Grant's story. Grant was sucking so hard. It was so bad. And when he finally got out of whatever he had to get out of, and thanks to Luke and a lot of his circle of influence, he finally got working. Wait, he could have done like 300 grand. He went to Slices. Now everyone goes, "This is Dad's shop." Who cares if it's Dad's shop? He's still
Resourcefulness.
He still sat there in a okay. Mine means his dad. His dad wasn't there. His dad had no influence. It just happens to be his dad's sub shop. So he went to the sub shop and sat there and just hounded sharp kids. And wow, you look sharp. And he would talk to them. And he got his #1 rep, Colin, and Colin got him into the 2 big prep schools. And there's 140 grand. Okay. Yeah. He was.
I wish I'd have had that on video. That was good.
So just I don't have too much more info, and I'm gonna just kind of go through this real quick if that's okay
You're
with you.
right,
'Cause-
you're right.
But the bulk of my message is already done. The bulk of my message was done by Andrew, by Jeff. Let me just rapid fire through these, and then if there's any Q&A, we'll open it up for that. So as far as tips on executing, I would say protect your numbers. Like you have to hit your numbers. My 2016 summer, I would let my assistants hit their numbers before I would hit mine. I'd be like, yeah, you guys gotta hit yours. And I would let them hit their numbers first, and no wonder why we didn't have that breakthrough. The moment I owned it and I set up 300 PRs in 2017, go figure, we did 460K new business and we had an awesome summer. So own your own numbers is very, very important. Don't dish your best list. Hold on to your best list. Whatever you have to do, make sure you protect you because you're gonna get the best results. That's number 1. Number 2 is compete with everyone else in your office. I had a competition. I'm gonna do it again this summer. If anybody beats me for a week, you set up more PRs than me this week, I will take you out for a meal. Try me, try to ride with me, and it's not gonna happen. Like I'm gonna make sure I outdo every single person in my office. I'm gonna be number 1 every single week on PRs. So call the rules. And number 3 is very important. Is you've got to make sure that you're on top of sending your messages every day. You got to send your messages every day. You got to send your message every day. When I say every day, I'm talking like I'm leveling up my game this summer because I have a huge opportunity in front of me. But past summers, I always have owned. I would say always for the last 4 years, 3 years, I owned somebody else's Facebook account. So I asked for permission. I said, anybody I recruit from your account, I'll give you $25. Would you be down if I ran your account for you? Absolutely, 100%. So I would message, and I would make sure I would message, and then I created a system of like an Excel spreadsheet, and I had an emoji, and I would post it in my WhatsApp group, so everyone knew before like 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. Jeff is on my groups. He's like, damn, Mike is getting to his team groups before me because I'm sending my messages first thing. It was like, I would wake up, I would do my morning routine, and then boom, in my morning routine, I send my 50 messages. That's it. I would do it. And then I would post my little 50 emoji to my WhatsApp group so everyone knew, here, I already sent my 50 messages. And throughout the day, I would have my set 5, I put my little 5 emoji, I hit my 5 before noon, a lot of cases. So just something to think about is making sure that you protect your lists. We already went through all of these as far as the response to low numbers. Is there anything that you guys feel like we missed as far as how you can get more PRs, ideas? There's a few others that we missed on this list, but I figured I would at least open it up. If you have the list in front of you, great. If you don't, just off the top, let's go through it.
So.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
Ready? I'm just saying this with love as your division manager and someone who cares about all of you. I just won't tolerate this stuff this summer. I won't tolerate I don't know what to do. I won't tolerate helplessness. I won't tolerate being, you fill in the word you want to fill. Joe wanted to say that. Okay? Like, trained all this time not to have all of a sudden a 1 or 2, 3 week lapse and have this meltdown in the middle of the season. Right? So anytime you say I don't know what to get what to do right now, okay? Anytime you say I don't have any PR names to call, I'm stuck. Okay? There are ways to find recruits. And he mentioned a few. He talked about Grant the slides, was Amanda awesome going and clipboarding with it? Sorry, what was it that you did?
It was getting people's numbers. on Facebook.
Okay, so all this resourcefulness. There's just a list here, okay? And I can tell you this, and this is kind of what has been at the beginning of the meeting. I'm okay if you have a really bad day and you want to be depressed and sulk about it for a day. But wake up and it's a new day.
A day?
gonna say.
Alright, let me, I rarely wanna connect, like, correct Jeff, but like, I'm telling you right now, your season is 3 months. Less. Like, your season is 3 months.
8 weeks.
I mean, so you have 3 months of selling,
The day is like
8 weeks of recruiting, and you're only recruiting for 4 days of those weeks, and if you're giving yourself permission to have one bad day that you trained for the last several months for, I would say that's
Yeah.
a,
And
most
I-
of the
and I-
5 minutes.
And I respect what he's saying, and I'm also just referring in context to our family last year, where we had more than I'm comfortable with people having lapses for days and weeks, and I'm stuck, and it's not of character in our division. So I'm just telling you ahead of time, instead of having the conversation when it happens, it's not tolerated. It's not tolerated on this team to have that much of a mental lapse, being the division, we talk a lot about how we're personal growth oriented, we want to impact, Andrew's awesome podcast, we all read books, we're reading fast. All these great things mean nothing if we can't put it on show when it's time to put it on show.
Yep.
And it's just, ready? It's just hypocrisy is what it is.
Yep.
It's to talk a lot of crap, and it's the same thing, it's the same feeling I have towards pushes in the fall. Right?
and winter and spring.
And spring, yeah.
Anytime.
And ready? If you're a smart business person, you don't bank on but it's summer coming up. Right now, the trend says we're gonna suck this summer. So let's change the trend. Okay, this is just, the list is here, you don't need a list, but the list is there just in case. Okay, Omar used to make this pin, it had like the, when I say I'm off the grid, then no, I do not. He said, babies. No babies, no wins. Okay?
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember that speech. Omar Debay said, "At what age do you get to where you stop pooping your pants?" Right? It's like, at what age do you get to where you stop pooping? Like, you don't. At what age do you look at your mom and be like, "Hey, you gotta wipe my butt for me"? It's like, at what the point he was making is, at what point in your Cutco career are you gonna stop relying on one of us to come motivate you to go do your job?
Yes.
Ready? We don't have a lot of time for I needed that. We don't have a lot of time for that, because ready? We have stuff to do. I really needed that talk. It's summer. These talks should have happened in September, October, November. Right? So just, this is such a
Cool.
weird tangent, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. Let me wrap up. And if you guys want to hear, any more motivational stuff, I'll be at the mixer. So. All right. So, if you want to increase your show percentage, use everything that Sam just talked about in her talk. Very simple. She gave a lot of really great goods. Number 2 is I like to text the applicant I just set up for an interview after the call. I don't know if everybody does that, I don't know if it's a program, but I just send them a courtesy text message. It's a copy-paste template that just has the address and, hey, really looking forward to meeting you, type of text. After we set up all of our calls. And then number 3, I send a WhatsApp message to the rep, letting them know, hey, I just want you to know I just set up a few of your friends for interviews. These, so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. If you want to just give them some words of encouragement or something, wish them luck. That way, they feel comfortable and excited about the interview process, something along those lines. I like to do those 3 things, simple stuff, everything Sam said, text the applicant, and then reach out to the rep, letting them know. That's, really in closing, to close up my session of this meeting, is whether it's the guy who invented Sony or the guy who really put McDonald's on the map, or whether it's just you going to run your small branch office this summer, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And the beautiful part about this is it's a very small microcosm of your life. This summer, if you really look at how many years you're gonna live, is a very small component of your life. And Jeff said in his opening comments about the risks that we take right now are what's gonna unfold later on in life. And the more risks we take in these moments, I would say the bigger and badder your life is gonna be later. So take risks, and one of the biggest risks that you wanna take right now is more intrinsic than in the external world. You know, risk the vulnerability, risk the rejection, risk calling the person and pissing them off. And if they get mad that you're like, I got 15 calls from this, it's like, dude, I apologize. Like, I don't have a tracking system of your number, and I apologize on that. But like, your friends recommended you from, you know, multiple times. I'm not here to, you know, mess up the relationship. I just, I'll take you off the list, but if someone else recommends you, I apologize, and I'll call the next person. That's it. Like, that's it. That's all that's gonna happen. And I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna accept it. And that's what I encourage all of you to do as well. If something comes in your way, accept it as fast as possible and recover as fast as possible. And and my last final thought is that success is not about not failing. You will fail. It's about recovering as fast as possible with the minimum amount of consequence. That's what you want to do this summer. Recover as fast as possible with the minimum amount of consequence, and win the day with 7 set a day. So that's what I got for you.
Since we're on the topic of recruiting, and then we'll finish the session here. I want to talk about cap percentage. Here's what I want to say about cap percentage, okay? I think there's this myth, and I actually got offended at the beginning. I actually was defending him without him there, so just so you know. Which I do all the time. And it was one of those, I talk about a lot of you guys. It was one of those, well, you know, when Andrew was on the stage, he was talking about being really selective. I think it hurt. And I said, that's not true. Right? I think people took things out of context. Okay? And mind you, you have to be careful. The situation's the boss. You can't say, well, Andrew does that, so it's exactly. You have to be a smart businesswoman or man in some cases, right? You have to be able to see the context of it. Okay? Started with Eddie. Eddie was already in the tech prep school system. It kind of went off from there. He was already getting into those schools. So there's just this thing of, and I taught this thing called the 20% rule. You guys know that, where you keep 20% of, and if you don't know what it is, don't worry about it. Right? You have to keep good quality, okay? But situation is the boss. If you don't have anything going on, you don't have the luxury of doing that. It's like saying, I'm gonna go to the conference, I don't have anything professional, but I only want to wear Louis Vuitton if I'm gonna go. You're broke, go to Macy's. Pick up a suit, okay? Your taste is above your pay grade. Right? So go to Macy's for now, find something nice, and it's the same thing here. Oh, I want to get a suit supply suit, like some of the DVMs. Cool. But if that one jacket costs you half of your bank account, you shouldn't get that jacket. Which is what happened in the Eastern region. That's another conversation. Anyway. Come on. 10% is just the same thing. And ready? This is like the underground. This is not for every division kill meeting, but this is for our kill meeting. I think this is an easy win for our division. Really easy win. I want you to take a look. Okay? This is the This is a great report that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about. This report is totally relevant.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Oh,
Numbers.
Here are the percentages I want you to see. Kept percentage in general, PRs kept, and mailers kept, okay? In general, a rule of thumb is you want to be between 50 up to 70% kept. If you're in a more urban market, you're dealing with a lot of having to filter out with the, physically offensive to the senses, urban, low socioeconomic, I get it. And it might be lower, closer towards the 50. Okay. The one office here that just shuts everyone up on kept percentage is Northwest Atlanta. The #1 new business office in the country is overall 53%. And he's got, and I know Trey's like, I was an best man at his wedding. There's some rough applicants that come in, but he still keeps at least 53% overall. That's what that percentage means. The second is kept on PRs. So if you have a lot of rough people, right? But here's what I will say. If the PR kept percentage is how many are you keeping from the people you refer to in training? And the mailer kept percentage, I know there's some mailer jokes about efficiency. Our division got a lot of business in general from mailers. And I'm really excited. Now, is it the return on investment directly great? No, but the PRs are. The PRs are. Okay. Is anyone here a mailer? I'm a mailer.
You're very proud.
Really? I got a mailer. I wasn't
We'll get to food.
thought it was a scam.
47% overall. Check it out, 47% overall in Carolina, and they keep 61. So they're keeping a higher percentage. Why? Because, okay, this is what I'm keeping, but we want them on team. I'm gonna keep a lot of their people, and then that's mailers. Remember, kind of remember the numbers here. Then you have Atlanta, 49% versus 47. They keep almost all their, like, a good portion of their PRs, and then here's mailers, 46%. Here's Coastal, 54%, roughly the same. They keep a good portion of their PRs, half their mailers. Here's Florida Atlantic, they 54% cap, they keep more than half of their PRs, more than half of their mailers. Here's Perlman, they have 61% cap, they have a higher cap percentage, okay? And then they say, oh, well, it's richer there. That's not true. There are parts of South Florida that are way richer than anything in Virginia. It has nothing to do with it. He just keeps more people. Because he's keeping his quality, he keeps more than half, or 3/4, okay? And then you have Florida United.
Oh.
So,
Oh, shoot.
48%. And then golf screwed themselves this summer, really more than I've seen in a long time. In the stats all across the board. And here's what's funny, so back to Andrew. Andrew had a higher cap percentage than most people. Now, mind you, I know he's tapped in different markets. So this makes sense, doesn't it? Why does this make sense? He's got really good people, so he's keeping more, so he wants to keep their PRs. But right, he's keeping 60% of his mailers like everyone else. And there's a lot of zips that are just as urban as Northwest Atlanta, Pilot, all that. But here, and this is for Luke and Mila and Josie and for Erica and for the Pilot year. We're the culprits. For whatever reason, and I don't know exactly what's going on, but we're the culprits. Fort Myers at 36%, okay? And Eric, you have a big opportunity, man. There's a really big opportunity. If you did what you did. I mean, I'm just saying.
No, it's super fair.
Way too selective.
Super fair.
And then all of golf. All of golf. Okay?
Yeah, I just want to say too, like, I think, you know, and again, you can merit being selected if your office is absolutely crushing it. But the problem is that, like, so many of those offices that are keeping 30%, you guys had office summers last year. It's like you had applicants come through your door and you didn't keep anybody, and then you just had that recruiting. It's like,
no one popped in golf.
you know, the point being that, like, if you can't afford to, like, be super selective, like, you take in as many people as you can get. Like, a lot of people had, like, there's multiple offices up there, not just from our division, but that had lots of people come into their office, and they recruited very little for the summer, because they turned 70% of the people that came in to apply away. But then they didn't have anyone working in their office this summer. It makes no sense why you would do that. So,
yeah, and I'm still figuring out, and Luke and maybe we can talk more about this, but I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we really have and then really it's all of this is the big. If you're from golf, man. So let me give you a couple thoughts on cap percentage.
A couple weeks
And we'll wrap up.
Give him a shot. Shot.
This is my light bulb aha moment. I think I don't know if it was Sean. It was someone from golf here, I think. We're at SC1, and all I heard was because this low 30% cap percentage. Oh my gosh, the quality. We just don't have quality. We just don't have quality. And when their team showed up, like I kept hearing, I was like holding my breath for their reps to show up. Like, God, like, this quality they're talking about must be horrible. I'm having a hard time getting quality. And their reps were pretty good. So from a DVM above like perspective, they became these elitist recruiters that I'm only looking for prep school kids. Hey homie, you don't have prep schools in your territory, so you're screwed. But it was almost like that, almost like dumb of thinking. Like not even putting 1 and 1 to equal 7. Like, what is going on here? Like I'm gonna keep, the reps were pretty good. And in their mind, I wasn't getting quality. I wasn't getting quality, okay? Things change when and Sean was the one who changed it fast. I said, just keep 1 or 2 more people per interview. Remember that? Just keep 1 or 2 more people. And all of a sudden, that was a little late, for my case, just keep 1 or 2 more people for the interview. Luke said it out loud. He was like, give them a shot. Give them a shot. Give them a shot. It's really easy.
Literally,
Want to say something?
No, I was just holding up my shot.
If it's really that bad, here's something here all the time. I don't want them to neg out the interview. I don't want that person to cause other people not to show. You need a better interview. You need to be able to navigate that better as a recruiter. It's like, hey Brandon, we're gonna sit through the group interview. Hey, there are a couple of people I'm gonna give a shot to, so let me finish pre-screening some people. We're clearly not gonna accept everyone for today, and I can't even guarantee you a shot, but let's talk, and then during the group we'll talk one-on-one, see what happens. It's like, you can set those up. And then your interview, hey everyone, I wanna let you know for the second interview, what you just went through is a pre-screen, this is the group interview, we'll be able to ask more questions and give you a final decision. I just want you to know that we won't be able to accept everyone for the interview. In fact, I'm giving a couple of you a shot today, just to at least hear the information. Like, it's just, you can do things in the interview that it doesn't matter who you keep. And if it's really that bad, then, ready, schedule that person for another interview, if you have to. Just if you really have to. Back in the day, in the Baltimore days, when we had newspapers, we would have, it was like a bus station. It's like social security, all the things we talked about, like not to have your office near. We had a lot of people apply. So on Sunday at 11 a.m., we would set up everyone for the week that was kind of rough. We just set them up for that interview. We would have like 100 people set for the interview and like 15 show, and whoever showed up, we would recruit them. And we would launch whoever showed up to training, and we would get some business, okay? I mean, Trey Ketchum tells these stories all the time. There was one kid who accidentally got set. He got booted from an interview, but he accidentally got set for training, showed up, and sold $1,000 his first week. Like, and ready? I would take 10 of those, because how many branches last year shipped 10K new business even 1 week? There were a lot of offices that couldn't even get the 10K for the week. So if you had 10 give me a shot, but it got you 10K new and at 18%, you made $1,800 that week. Come on. Open the net, the sales are a little, this is what Andrew's saying. If you're not cranking, open the net a little bit more. Ready? Run every interview. Run every interview. I hear a lot of, well, I just reschedule them because they weren't. This is my toll, you only have blank trainings, blank weeks, blank interviews. Run every interview. We're not just recruiting reps, we're recruiting their networks too.
Yeah.
It's the same reason I have a lot of receptionists who may never be a good receptionist, but they're in networks. How many people, even this past spring, we're realizing, and we opened up the net a lot more than normal, and some of our best reps came from the second and third generation PRs. Okay? And then, ready? We want a lot of reps for profitability purposes. There's nothing more positive than having a lot of new business, and a lot of lower people who we thought weren't going to be as good, but give people a shot. You know, you want to create a great brand in your area. Be the person that gives people a shot, not run the company that only works with the customers. That's the real recruiting mentality. Okay. And one thing I do know, I would always put my money in a rep that has 20 people, and then maybe not the sharpest reps, versus I have 2, but they're from my best schools. I'll bet on the first office every time, every single time. I use Amanda as an example. Amanda was for the first half of her summer. She was in South Richmond, and there's a lot of urban that she was dealing with, and she was having a hard time getting the quality, but she kept it open net. And what was the final number? Her total summer.
50.
Yeah, she got to 50. She was on pace for probably like 20, 30 at one point, and she got it up to 50K. It's so profitable. No one's writing home about her summer. No one's remembering her standings in the competition, but we had a branch who exported, got experience, was profitable, and is doing around 2. So. Thoughts, add-ons, questions? Yes, you've been wanting to raise your hand.
Yeah, I just remember this exact problem as far as like cut percentage when I was running the interviews, and so Andrew talked to me like, you need to stop booting so many people, so like keep more, and basically it was like either they'll sell or they'll bring PRs, and at one point I'd listen to them, and so then at one point, I was having people coming into my interviews that literally would go into training, finish training, and then leave for a week on vacation. But we got their PRs and we got their networks, and maybe they didn't sell much. I had 3 of my own PRs that came in. They didn't sell $1, but I knew that they were plugged up and had more than enough connections.
So at one point we had like 15 people in training, and at least over half the group left before Monday advanced training for over 3 weeks. Or most of it was like a month and a half. It was like only a month and a half.
And how much CPO got from their?
You know, they finished day 2 training, like, well, so I'm going out of town on Sunday. Like, oh, we're going to town. It's like, Europe. I was like, for how long? It's like a month and a half.
Is that like Barbados?
Like, you start school in August? Yeah. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? You just told me I could come in and just train. You get them like, alright.
Down the
Here's gonna be the challenge, here's gonna be the challenge, and I don't know, it came from somewhere, I think part on the Caribbean side, it came from the pilots, something I taught or something we showed, it came about there. On the Gulf side, I'm not exactly sure, it might have come from mine, I think Mike, you went from really no filter whatsoever, and I came down and you closed it up, you might have swung the wrong way, I don't know. But what I do know is if we can get it up 7-8 percentage points, that's gonna be a massive move. We have massive. I told Scott, I said, Scott, get ready. When you come to our SC1, he said, Scott's attending our SC1, you know that. On June 11th, we're gonna have more people at this one by like 15-20%.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest takeaways, and goes back to